Can you imagine waking up one day at 65 years old and realizing that pretty much everything you thought you knew about your life was a lie? Well, that's the incredible journey of John Jackson, and he lays it all out in his book, Thoughts of a Newly Awakened Mind. Today, we're going to follow his path, from what he calls a comfortable slumber to a really radical and, yeah, often painful awakening. Jackson's story really kicks off with these fiery words from Malcolm X. And this quote, it's not just some fancy intro for his book. No, it's the core emotion. It's that gut punch feeling of betrayal that really lights the fire for everything that follows. It sets the stage for a really profound and deeply personal realization. And for Jackson, those words from Malcolm X just hit differently. They perfectly captured the shock he felt when he started to realize his education wasn't just, missing a few pieces. It felt like it was designed that way. He talks about this growing anger at the idea that the history he was taught was intentionally shaped to keep him and people who look like him from their own power. So what did life even look like before all of this, before the awakening? Well, Jackson describes it as his first 65 years spent asleep in the lie. And the crazy part is, it was a state of being he didn't even know he was in. This right here really captures the two different realities Jackson was living in. On one side, you've got the world as he saw it. He believed he was informed. He accepted the stories he was handed down. But on the other side, that's the hidden machinery he started to uncover. He came to believe his ignorance was carefully engineered, his mind was colonized, and his life was being systematically misdirected without him having a clue. Every awakening has a trigger, right? That one moment where the first crack appears in the foundation of everything you believe. For Jackson, that shock to the system came from a place many of us might recognize. It literally all started with a YouTube video. Can you believe it? After 32 years as a devout Christian, Jackson just happens to stumble upon this lecture. He'd actually seen it pop up in his feed before, but always, scrolled right past it. But this time, for whatever reason, he clicked play. And that one click started a chain reaction of questions about everything he held dear. This verse from Proverbs perfectly shows the kind of thinking Jackson had to break free from. He says this was drilled into him. And the way he came to understand it was basically, don't think for yourself. It was this powerful programming built on fear of questioning, fear of hell, fear of looking for answers outside of the approved books. And boom, that one video just opened the floodgates. As the YouTube algorithm started doing its thing, suggesting other thinkers, Jackson began what he calls a painful but totally necessary process of deprogramming. He started to see that the stories he'd built his entire life on might have been intentionally twisted to limit his own potential. So this deprogramming, it led him straight to the heart of his discovery, a huge, rich, and often brutal history that he believed had been deliberately hidden from him and his entire community. Look at this contrast, it is stark. On one side, you've got the classic American story, land of the free. But on the other, you have the buried truth Jackson was now digging up, a history of stolen land, of invasion, and of the Maafa, the African Holocaust. He describes the official history he learned in school as fundamentally whitewashed and totally watered down. Now, he's quick to point out that he didn't walk this path alone. Jackson credits this long list of incredible Black scholars, historians, and thinkers for lighting the way. In his book's dedication, he really honors these giants for giving him the knowledge and clarity that his formal education just never did. This amazing quote, which Jackson himself uses, just perfectly sums up the whole point of this journey. The physical chains might be gone, but the battle for the mind, that struggle for mental liberation, that's the ultimate fight. And it's a freedom, he argues, that nobody can give you but yourself. But this whole journey isn't just about uncovering pain and lies. The next step, and this is so important, is about reclaiming what was lost. A sense of identity, a deep pride, and a spiritual connection that's rooted in African greatness. And that's the big question Jackson had to face. If you dismantle the belief system you've lived by for decades, what do you build at its place? What's going to give you guidance and meaning and a moral compass? He found his answer in Ma'at. It's an ancient African spiritual and ethical system that became his new guide. Instead of just dogma and fear, Ma'at gave him a framework for living based on these incredible principles like truth, justice, and harmony. For Jackson, it felt like coming home to an ancestral wisdom that was way more authentic and empowering. So all of this transformation, moving from that deep anger and grief to real empowerment, it found its most powerful voice in his poetry. Writing became the tool he used to process his awakening, to channel all those intense emotions, and to really put into words this new pride in his identity. Wow. You can just feel the energy in that line from his poem, Unapologetically African. It's a command, it's a declaration, it's a celebration. This isn't just a nice thought. It is the final result of his journey from being what he called a good little Negro to standing tall in his full African identity. So you have to ask, why share such a personal and frankly difficult journey? Well, Jackson makes it crystal clear that this book isn't just about his past, it is absolutely a message for the future. His motivation is simple. Jackson wrote this book specifically for young people. He wants to give them the knowledge and the sense of self that he didn't discover until he was in his 60s. He's hoping to arm them with the truth before the world has a chance to plant its lies. And he puts it perfectly himself. It's never too late to wake up, but how powerful it would be to never fall asleep in the first place. His story is living proof that an awakening can happen at any age, but his real goal is prevention, to make sure the next generation starts their lives already awake, fully aware, and rooted in their own true history. So we're going to leave you with this powerful question, inspired by his poem, To Be Determined. After a whole journey of uncovering a history that was chosen for him, Jackson leaves us all with a challenge. He reminds us that while we can't change the past, every single choice we make today is an act of creation. It's painting the memories of our future. So the question is, what will you create?